Guess what's back? Business and Brews, where real business talk meets real people, and always fueled by a good brew. This time we're going podcast first, bite-sized, insightful, and built for conversations you'll want to share. I'm your host, Matt Pierce, founder and CEO of Immediate, and I'll be sitting down with leaders, entrepreneurs, and friends to talk about leadership, growth, and the stories that make business worth talking about. So grab your favorite brew, pull up a chair, and let's talk business the way it's meant to be talked about. Business and Brews, back, bolder, and better than ever. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Business and Brews. I'm your host, Matt Pierce. Today, we've got Adam Pennybaker, the CEO of Milo's Hamburgers. Adam, great to have you here with me.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks, Matt.
Well, let's get started with your brew of choice. I've got a sneaking suspicion I know what it's going to be, but I'll let you share what your brew is today.
Yeah. The big reveal won't be that revealing. If you're in the Milo's hamburger business, you're definitely in the Milo's tea business. So that's my beverage of choice throughout the day. But early mornings, hot coffee's the deal.
Yep, there we go. Well, my kids love your ice more than anything. They're just like Milo's Hamburgers ice is just the best stuff.
It hits different over the ice that we put in our stores versus just cubed ice out of the fridge, you know?
Thanks for being here. If I put on my Immediate hat for a second, thank you for your partnership. I know you guys have been a great partner of Immediate's for years, and so have loved working with you guys and supporting your team. So, but I do think it's always good to kind of start with a little bit of your backstory. I know you stepped into the CEO role a few years ago. Tell us a little bit about kind of what got you here.
Yeah, I'm originally from Mississippi, went to Ole Miss, and I grew up really around two industries. My mom was an interior designer and worked retail furniture, and then her parents owned some restaurants, an old brand called Pasquale's Pizza and Pasta. It was an old Birmingham brand that had franchises throughout the South. And so I was early days in the kitchen, washing dishes, probably causing a lot of chaos versus being any type of help. But when I got to Ole Miss, I pursued the furniture industry, and I was furniture rep for a while, and then was in the furniture retail for a while. And then after that, I pointed my sights toward restaurants and got back in the restaurant business and joined Milo's back in 2020. You know, it's just Milo's is a great brand. It's a fun brand. It's a saucy brand. We take our food very seriously, but you know, ourselves less. So it's a fun thing to be a part of.
I love the stay saucy, and your marketing team does a great job. Me and my family frequent the Wildwood location.
Yeah.
And it's always, which I think they redid that one a few years ago, and it looks
great. We refreshed it 2 years ago. Sure did.
It looks so good. And we come around in the marketing. I know when you guys did the grilled tenders for a little while, there was a good marketing around that.
You see the protein shake marketing of that?
No.
They did a good thing. It was like a picture of a grilled tender, so protein, and then a milkshake. So it was like, come to Milo's and get your protein shake, and
that's good. I like it.
It was pretty good. But yeah, we're a hamburger brand, but man, our chicken is second to none. It's good stuff.
I love your honey mustard. I think it's awesome. I get the tender sometimes just for that honey mustard because it's so good.
You get the honey mustard with a side of tender?
What's the sauce that's like a mix? It's like the
the double O? So double O is original Milo's and original ranch. And so those are kind of blended, and it's our number 2 sauce. Milo sauce will always be the number 1 sauce, but double O runs a tight race for second. People love it. It's great.
This is an interesting space to be in, and obviously you've got some history with your family. I mean, like if we were talking to college version of Adam, is this the direction you felt your career would go? Did you think you would head here? Kind of what were you thinking you were going to do when you were coming out of college?
New business ownership, leading was some version of that. My brother and I grew up together. We were really close. My dad lived in Georgia. We were in Mississippi. So wherever we were together. And from a very young age, we would kind of like, don't get me wrong, we did lots of, we fought, we played sports, we did all stuff, but we also played business. We would sit in like my dad's office and be like, "Hey, Bob, can you send me the memo?" When we were little. And so we always had a desire to be in business together in some version of that. And so but when I was in college, like eventually I knew that would probably be a route that I'd take. And we did that. We were in business together in the furniture industry for a long time, and we did that, and that was really rewarding. Learned a lot, and then I did not anticipate, hey, I'm going to be in the burger and fry business coming out of college, but business to a large part is business, whether you're selling sofas or selling burgers, because at the end of the day, it's a people business, and so relationally, love people, love being around people, love meeting needs of people. And so I knew something like that, but I couldn't anticipate where I am now, certainly back at Ole Miss. So,
Well, that's pretty awesome that you and your brother played business growing up. My dad was a dentist, and we would spend the whole month of July with him, and we would go and we just get to hang out around the office
yeah,
for the
yeah,
rest of the day. And we would not play business; we would play dentist. So we would find one of the rooms that he wasn't in, and we'd put on the
yeah.
mask and gloves, and then we'd get in the wars with the little squirt guns.
Oh,
That
yeah, that's
it's
great. That's
those are
great.
our our
Hey,
days.
very similar story. My dad's house was a mile down the road from the restaurant. We'd sleep in the summer, and then we'd roll up there and terrorize the back. Think we were coming up with new recipes, all that good stuff, and really we were just like, his food costs while we were there had to be terrible within the business. So, but
Uh,
yeah, we similar experience. But growing up in Meridian, my mom, and she was an incredibly hard worker and did amazing stuff. She was a very talented interior designer, and so seeing her go to work and do all that she did every day certainly ingrained a lot of hard work characteristics and the virtue of work and showing up and like giving your all and loving what you do. That, even though I'm in restaurant business, the way I go about a lot of the stuff that I do really comes from my mom. So I mean, not that we're here to talk about parents, but
I think that's a great segue because one of the things I wanted to ask you about was just some of the trends you see in, like, think about the people that are the top performers at Milo's Hamburgers locations. I mean, you can obviously take this for yourself, and I think you just hit on it a little bit, but some of the things that have shaped you and molded you in your career. Obviously, you're the CEO of a company for a reason, right? You've learned, you've grown, you've invested time and leadership skills, and you already hit on them. It was one of the first things you said was you're in the people business, right? It's about building relationships. It's about taking care of people. So feel free to take it either direction or both if you'd like. But I'd love to hear your thoughts about some of the characteristics and things that you're seeing that you've either experienced yourself or you've seen with some of your top performers. I'm sure you probably have stories of people that may have been, hey, they started when they were in high school working with us and they've worked their way up and now they're a manager or something like that, right? Like if you've got any stories that I think as people are listening to this, so they could hear like this is something that the CEO of a company looks for when they're thinking about who to promote or who to tap to run that new store, things of that
yeah,
nature.
it's a good question, but the reality is that whether or not you are with us or whether you're at a role for a year or you've been around for 30 years, the person I was thinking about in my mind instantly, most of the people is like, oh, well, if you've been here for 25 years, you've got something to you that is worth celebrating. And that is true. But there are a lot of people who come through our doors and move on to other careers, that whether you're here as a career employee at Milo's and you promote up from, you started in high school and you became a fry cook, and then you became a front counter, and then you worked the drive through, and then you became assistant, and then you became a GM, and maybe you're a regional, and and you've been 20 years into the game, and that is a great story to tell. But the reality is that, man, we have a lot of people who we work together with every year that aren't with us next year because the nature of our business is that sometimes we're a kid's first job.
Right.
Sometimes we're a summer job for a college kid, but we depend on people, and showing up is more than half the battle. Showing up, and having just a little bit of care. One of the things about Milo is our mission statement is to give a little something extra in all that we do. So a little something extra is a tagline. Anybody familiar with Milo's probably heard about a little something extra. And there's a story behind that where we put a little extra piece of meat on our hamburger to give it a little something extra. It started back with Milo Carlton, who was founder of Milo's, used to do that when he was the chef and the cook, and he would put a little extra meat on everybody's burger. Well, we take that to all aspects of our business. So we want to give a little something extra all we do. And that's a mindset and a way of life. And so when you come to work for us, those that we want to have more opportunity to put them in front of our customers, give them more responsibility, or just be super thankful that they were with us in the season of life that they were with us, are those that really embrace a little something extra. That they show up and they put forth a little extra care in whatever they're doing. So that's the key thing, man, is like always buying back into whatever you're doing. And so whether you're working a part-time job while you're in college, or you're heading a full-time career, or whatever stage of life, or whether you're serving or playing sports or whatever, is all right, I'm buying back into what I'm doing today. And those that do that tend to progress on.
Right.
And so that's what we look for, is people who are buying in and giving a little bit extra.
That's awesome. I love it. Also like that that's something. How long ago was it when Milo's Hamburgers started?
Oh, man, this year, well, here in a few days, 2026 will be our 80th year.
Oh,
and
wow.
So we've been around for 80 years, and started here in Birmingham. It's been going strong for 80 years, hopefully 80 more.
What I think is really cool about that is that this has been like a little something extra has been something that you guys have focused on for, 4/5 of a century, right? I mean, it's like, I think it says a lot about you guys and like honoring the beginnings and continuing to see that and invest in that. It's great advice. So from an advice perspective, immediate comes at things from a financial wellness perspective. Would love to hear your thoughts just around, is there like financial advice that you've either received or that you like to give that kind of pops to the top of your mind?
As far as financial advice, I do believe that, are there tricks of the trade? Like, hey, this is a good, not trick, but this would be a wise move to make, like, hey, buy low and sell high, right? But I really believe this to be true, is that whatever advice that you have for life, love your neighbor as you love yourself, those things ring true in all aspects of life. So if you're going to be a person of integrity, tell the truth, be honest, care for others, go down the list of whatever, not cliche, but whatever moral standard that you want to adhere to, those things need to ring true in your pocketbook and your financial decisions.
Right.
And oftentimes, for some reason, we tend to put those things to the side when it comes to my money, or, I've earned this, and none of it's ours, right? That's my belief. So hold things loosely, but you got to be responsible. You need to be honest with your money and what you're doing with it, and putting it to good use, and caring for others with it, and caring for your family with it. And those things have lots of different purposes as you defined it. But so whatever you're less than honest as a person, you're going to be less than honest with your money. That advice is true whether you're talking about money, or whether you're talking about how you play sports, or how you transact in business, or whether the way you engage your neighbor, or your mother-in-law, or anybody, And so I think it's interesting. I hadn't thought about this. It's an interesting question, that, like, what would you say is financial advice? I think what I would say is that how you approach your money should mimic and match the way you want to approach your life. And oftentimes, for some reason, and I'm just as guilty, those things don't.
Right. That's good. It's really good. I like it. So I think I know the answer to this just from the time we've spent together over the years. So the question is what is your superpower? And the reason we like to ask this question is because I feel like people that are quote unquote successful in life usually have, sometimes it's multiple things, right? But usually have one or two things that they feel like they do really, really well. I remember I was a big baseball fan growing up, and I loved baseball. I didn't love it quite as much as football, but I loved baseball, and Chipper Jones was my favorite player.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and I remember
Well,
watching.
so you're a generation behind me, because I was a
Okay.
Ron Gant guy,
Okay. I like
Yeah.
Ron Gant too now. He was, the Ron Gant, Dale Murphy years were pretty awesome.
Woo. Yeah.
Actually, really quick aside, my stepfather, I lived in Greenville, South Carolina for 3 years as a kid from 89 to 92. And my stepdad had a guy that he worked with whose son, I want to say his name was Martin Clancy. He was a bullpen pitcher for the Braves. And so for my birthday, when I was turning, I want to say this was like 89 or 90. I was born in 81. So I would have been like my ninth or 10th birthday. My stepdad took me to a Braves game and we got there early. I remember walking in the stadium being like, "There's like not even anybody here. Why do they even let us
Yeah.
in?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And Martin Clancy, I think that was his name. He
Yeah.
came out, introduced himself, and he handed me a birthday card that had been signed by everybody on the team. And
Oh,
so
man.
it was Maddox, it was Glavine, it was Smoltz,
Smoltz,
Ron Gant was
Avery.
in there,
Yeah.
Steve Avery. Oh
Yeah.
man, it was so cool. It's like one of my most treasured possessions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Was that in Fulton County? Was that Fulton County Stadium?
that was still down at Fulton County Stadium where
Yeah, that's clutch. The question is, do you still have that birthday card?
oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
I should know off the top of my head where it is. I've got a really good feeling I know where it is.
Yeah. We don't need to do the competition, but Rafael Cabrera,
Yes.
Steve Blauser,
Wilder.
you go down the list, Sid Bream, that was probably that team. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I'll find it. I'll send you a picture of it so you can see who all's on there. It's I want to say Javi Lopez
Yeah.
might have.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the digress. The point of this story was when this would have been before Chipper's days because I think Terry Pendleton was still on third base.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Could be.
so Chipper, there's an interview with him where they were asking him about something in his career, and he said, "When I was growing up, father told me there's always going to be somebody faster than you. There's always going to be somebody that's a better batter than you. There's always going to be somebody that's a better fielder than you. There's always going to be somebody who's got more physical gifting, talents, whatever it is." He's like, the one thing that he's like, you can't control any of that, right? The one
Yeah.
thing you can control is your work ethic.
Yeah.
And so he said, so my dad instilled in me that it doesn't matter. All those other things that they matter, right? But they don't matter as much as can I outwork somebody?
Yeah.
And that was Chipper Jones' superpower was I was willing to put in the work, right? You could probably, I would assume, while he did have a lot of physical giftings, I would assume you could probably say
Yeah.
something similar about like a Kobe Bryant, right? Like here's the
Oh
people
yeah.
that they just outworked everybody. So
Yeah.
I always love to hear from entrepreneurs, CEOs, leaders. Like, what do you think is your superpower that helps set you apart from?
Yeah. I think before I necessarily talk about me, I think it's interesting. Like, you always want to be a good steward with what you have, whatever that gift is. If that gift is money, if that gift is like Kobe Bryant was an incredible athlete, but did he steward that gift and get all that he could out of that gift? I'd say yes. Chipper Jones, same way. So are you a good steward with whatever you've been blessed with or given with? And so my talents aren't the same talents as Chipper Jones or Kobe Bryant. I have been gifted with love of people. I'm an extremely relational person. So leveraging that, I hate to say leverage because I'm not leveraging people per se, but the gift of like enjoying people and speaking with them and hanging out with them and galvanizing them around a task, a duty, a goal, an objective is, I think, a little bit of a natural gift of mine that if we want to go do something or if we'd like to go do something, galvanizing the crowd, the team, the group to pursue something, whatever that is, something. And the other thing is that when things are not right, when there's chaos and when there is a lot happening, one of the things I think I'm pretty good at is having a clarified, calm, steady pathway through it. And so those are the two things that I think have been benefits of mine, that in the midst of all this going on, being able to kind of stay focused and move through it is one of those things. So I would say probably galvanizing is one, and then steady hand is another.
Those are two giftings that I think are really important for leaders and organizations. In the second one, I think that you kind of described as like a steady hand. When chaos ensues and there's a person who can kind of step in with a level head and just try to break it all down and figure out like what's the path forward. Right.
Yeah.
Like if you're a captain of a ship in the middle of a storm, you don't want a
Yeah.
guy who's in there freaking out. You want a guy who's looking to the horizon, who's figuring
Yeah.
out like taking some deep breaths, calm, cool, and collected. So that's really good. I think that's an incredible superpower, especially given the position you're in, and something I think people should kind of take to
I
heart.
think in what we're doing, and Matt, I think you can speak to this with what you've done at Immediate, but like to get anywhere meaningful in life with your business, if we're just talking business, like you're talented, you're gifted, you're smart, you're intelligent, you've come up with a wonderful platform, technology, resource. Like you can muscle that and you get pretty far with that yourself out of pure grit. But to get anywhere meaningful with it, you can't do it alone. So I think it's really important that, you know, uh, you know, in all aspects of business, it's a people business. Your customer, internal and external, your team, how you get there. You may have had the idea, but that idea can only go so far with you. I mean, people matter, and it's important. And so I think we all have gifts, but we can only go so far with those gifts. And what's the point of getting somewhere by yourself?
Right.
No one to share it with. So,
That's the old, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
that's
It's
right.
it's
Yeah.
such a good saying. Well,
Something you appreciate more later in your career than you do early in your career.
100%. Yes, you want and like look to tie back to the analogy with sports. You see it in a lot of players, guys that early on in their career they want to just put everything on their back, and they want to be the guy with the ball in his hands when the clock's ticking down its final seconds. And as they get older, they start to recognize that like I want this to be a team effort, right? I want to pull people in, and they have more success as they really get everybody actively engaged versus feeling like, oh, he's going to go do that on his own. And so
Yeah.
I think you're right. There's like a there's a time and a place for putting your head down, working hard, pushing through, using that entrepreneurial grit just to go get things done. And then
Right.
there's the time when you go, all right, do I still have that capability? Absolutely. Is it going to serve this company the best if that's what happens? No, it's not. And so
Yeah.
we're going to bring people in. We're going to help, because it's not only about your company, it's also about building up those others around you and showing them that they've got this in them too, and you
Yeah.
can guide them and lead them. So I think that's awesome. No, this has been a really good conversation. Really enjoyed this, Adam. Anything big going on with Milo's Hamburgers that you're able to share?
I think we talked about it earlier. It's our 80th year in business next year. We'll have a fun time celebrating that. We've refreshed a store. We just rebuilt a store in Fairfield that has been around for 40 or 50 years. We'll do some more of that next year. But yeah, we're super excited about the next year. I don't have a long list of things to kind of share publicly just yet, but we'll have a fun year. It's going to be a fun year for us, and we're excited about it.
Well, I'm grateful that we get to share this podcast, this interview going into your 80th year. That's a really awesome milestone. Congrats for being at the helm as you guys navigate it. I will say, just really quick aside, I grew up in Decatur, and we did not have a Milo's Hamburgers there. But me and my friends would, once we hit 16, we would, this is back when, like, we're about to sound like boomers, but this was back when
Yeah.
gas was like, 89 cents a gallon. And I
Yeah.
drove an old beat up Toyota Camry, and I could fill up the tank for $12. And so I would get my buddies together, and they'd bring, a couple bucks, and would chip in and put gas in my car, and we would drive the 30-ish minutes or so down 65 to Coleman,
Oh,
and
yeah.
go to Milo's Hamburgers.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so this is fun to get to do this with you, because that was a cool part of my childhood, like in high school years when I could drive it. And I'll actually say that it started with my older brother got his license when I was in the 7th or 8th grade, and he drove an old Jeep that didn't even have a roof, and so we would
Yeah.
get on the
Yeah.
interstate,
Yeah.
with no roof.
Yeah.
Hair blowing everywhere, and we'd come in there looking like we were from Wayne's World, when they did the
Yeah. Yeah.
Rhapsody, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And so,
Well,
anyways, we did that. So I had a lot of good times going down to Coleman to eat Milo's Hamburgers.
to kind of maybe end where we started was like one of the best things about being a part of and associated with Milo's is our stories like this. I mean, we've been around for 80 years. We get comments like, We're just stewards of this company that's really everybody else's. I mean, they claim Milo's as their own, and they've eaten it forever. And I got an email from a guy who he said he had been eating Milo since 1970, and he had eaten at every single location,
Oh man.
both past and present. And he was thrilled to inform us that he had his best version of Milo's that he's ever had last week. That's a point of pride,
Right.
And so these are his hamburgers and his meals and his dining experience that he's had since 1970. So what is that? 46 years or 56 years.
Yeah.
And so those things are fun. You can't stay neutral on Milo's. You either love it or it's not your appetite, and that's okay. Like we'd rather be a topic of conversation than not. But for those that love it, and especially those around here, it's definitely an honor and a privilege to continue offering their hamburger.
That's great. Well, that's a great way to end it. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for sharing that, and happy 80th birthday to Milo's Hamburgers. I hope
Yeah,
it's an incredible 2026 for you guys.
yeah, yeah. Well, thank you, Matt. Get you a drink today.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did, and we'll catch you on the next Business and Brews.